So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning to those here in person and on Zoom. Welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Community of Halifax. My name is Mary Lou McDonald, and I'm a member of the community and will be the service leader today. I have to kind of ask your indulgence. I'm suffering from sciatica and moving is a little tricky.
Wait for the microphone too.
Yeah, this is a very directional microphone.
Yeah.
For some reason, is it on?
Yeah, it is.
Through both our Universalist and Unitarian heritages, we recognize that the truths of the universe are too complex to be summed up in any one religious dogma. Instead of focusing on a creedal system of rules and beliefs, we draw wisdom and meaning from many sources, listening, learning, working at building community, and taking responsible action in the here and now. If you are visiting today, we welcome you. Feel free to participate in the service with us. If you would like to be on our email distribution list, please leave your name and email address in the visitors book out in the ballroom. If you would like to introduce yourself, someone will bring you the microphone. Okay. We are without a minister during this church year, so our services have been lay-led, and we welcomed a number of guest speakers. Today, our guest is Betty Ann Hedges, the Executive Director of Humanist Canada. Before we begin, we pause to acknowledge both that we live in the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people and that we live in a world of a climate crisis. Today's statement was written by Leslie Robinson of the Climate Crisis Team, who asked me to read it for him. Tomorrow is Earth Day, founded on 22 April 1970, as a day to mark the importance of our planet instead of taking it for granted. Much earlier than that, around 1854, Chief Seattle is credited with saying these words of wisdom from his indigenous culture. Man does not weave this web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. All things are connected. Mi'kmaq people of this unceded territory have also inherited this knowledge, and it has become a necessary understanding for our lives today. This year in HRM, Earth Day has been extended from 1 day to 5 days with Climate Fest, multiple opportunities to learn about climate projects and hear ideas of how to take action. Perhaps you have already participated in some of them, including the People's Parade for Life on Earth yesterday. If not, it's not too late. There are more events happening today and tomorrow. The marquee event is this afternoon at the Halifax Central Library from 12:30 to 6. This event includes a human library and will give folks a chance to experiment with hands-on activities in 5 themes of climate action: food, nature, home, getting around, and community. Everyone is invited to a journey of down-to-earth, everyday action to help the environment and build a healthy future for ourselves and the planet. Our own celebration of Earth Day will take place next Sunday morning with guest speaker Sean Kelly from the Climate Story Network. Chalice lighting. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. We light it today with the words of the Reverend Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts and minds be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Our opening hymn is number 300, With Heart and Mind. Rise or remain seated as you choose.
With heart and mind and voice and breath, may we this heart and place transcend, to make our purpose understood. Our mortal search for mortal good, our firm commitment to the goal of justice, freedom, peace for all. Our mind that's free to seek the truth. Our mind that's free in age and youth, to choose a path no threat can keep. Wherever light of conscience leads, our martyrs died so we could be a church where every mind is free. A heart that's kind, a heart to search, makes of the spirit of our church, where we can grow and each one's gift is sanctified and spirits lift, where every door is open wide for all who choose to stand inside.
As a community, we share our joys, sorrows, and complex truths. We open our hearts to comfort those in pain. We rejoice with those who are in a happy moment. And we're here to support those who carry complex truths as they process and make meaning of all that life brings. At various times, we've used candles or stones to mark these moments in our lives. Currently, we're using small lights, which are easier to handle. But the symbol of an open community remains the same, regardless. If you have a story that needs to be spoken in community today, I invite you to do so now. Speak your story or make the gesture in silence as you wish. Know that you are part of a loving community. Thank you, Marilyn. Okay.
For those of you who still know or remember Norman Sabowitz, he's in hospital right now. He's had another major episode with his bowels, but it looks like he'll be going back into Parkland at the Lakes tomorrow.
And I have a joy, so my health has been amazing for one more week, so that's good. We're going week by week, so my health has been very good. And I have another candle. 2 of my friends have had babies within a month, and I got to hold all of them and sing to them.
Sylvia.
Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.
I don't know how I forgot to say it last week, but Glenda's Franklin asked me to thank us for lighting candles for Glenda every week, and he appreciates whatever thoughts and prayers we are making on her behalf.
Well, finally, one light for all the unspoken concerns that remain in our hearts. And a thank you to Kath for her help. We'll pause briefly for a minute of silent contemplation, and then I'll ring the Unitarians have been active in the international humanist movement from the promulgation of the first Humanist Manifesto in 1933 to today. Without getting into the difference between secular humanism and religious humanism, Unitarian principles are closely aligned with those of the humanist movement. The Humanist Association of Canada promotes the separation of religion from public policy and fosters the development of reason, compassion, and critical thinking for all Canadians through secular education and community support, end quote. As UUs, we celebrate our fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, choosing to welcome a broader spectrum of belief. In this Halifax community, when the recent Ministerial Search Committee asked, "How do you perceive your UU self?" there were 11 options offered, including other and all of the above, in the best Unitarian manner. Respondents could choose more than one option. So some of us identify as atheist, pagan, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, and witch. But the greatest number checked humanist, with agnostic and spiritual practitioner tied for second place. We are a diverse community, open to the presence of more than one way of living our lives. For well over 20 years, the third Sunday of the month has been the after-church meeting day of the UU Humanist Discussion Group. So it is fitting that this third Sunday of April coincided with the visit to Halifax of Betty Ann Hedges, the Executive Director of Humanist Canada. Betty Ann has a degree in philosophy and a certificate in not-for-profit governance, a very valuable skill. Her work in the not-for-profit sector has included governance roles with the Ontario Trivium Foundation, the United Way, and several visual arts organizations. She has agreed to talk to us today about the place of humanism in Canada now and in the future, and the need for humanists to take a principled, united stand in these difficult times. Betty Ann.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you for welcoming me to this space that holds so much history and meaning. I love Halifax. I was very excited to be able to join you here today. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about an organization that I am very proud to represent. Humanist Canada, with its rich history spanning over 5 decades, stands as a beacon of reason, compassion, and human dignity. Established in 1968 as the Humanist Association of Canada, our organization has been dedicated to championing reason and human dignity for over 5 decades. Since our inception, we have been at the forefront of promoting secular values that resonate with individuals from all walks of life. In 1996, we launched our Ontario Officiant Program, a significant milestone that allowed us to expand our reach. We see our officiants as ambassadors for humanism. Like you, we both in our programs recognize the profound significance of the human experience and the role that rituals and ceremonies play in our lives. For millennia, humans have sought ways to mark the transitions and milestones that define our existence. From weddings to funerals, these ceremonies serve as touchstones, anchoring us in shared cultural history and providing comfort and meaning in times of joy and sorrow. Our work does not end there. And we look to the future. As we look to the future, we recognize the importance of growing a community that shares our commitment to humanist principles. Today, I'm inviting you to become a part of this community. Our work includes urging governments to respect the Saguenay case outcome and its theme of clarifying a state's duty of neutrality, as we did just this month when the media sought our opinion when the Manitoba legislature announced that it would review its tradition of opening prayer. We responded with reason. Our volunteers across Canada regularly monitor the use of prayer in government, and we partner with our provincial affiliates to urge review. We continue to seek opportunities to be a part of the public discourse and urge that a secular approach is best to ensure government neutrality and best to reflect not only our humanist values, but our Canadian values. Our work includes offering petitions to our members, creating position papers, developing roundtable discussions, live interviews with opportunity for engagement, webinars, and next month, a podcast, a bit of a passion project for me. We are also very proud of the development of humanist chaplains in Canada. In 2020, the National Humanist Chaplain Accreditation Program was created for the accreditation, governance, and oversight of humanist chaplains so that they can provide professionally relevant, legitimate, and trustworthy spiritual support to Canadians in various institutions and organizations. We now have chaplains in-house at the University of Ottawa, the University of Toronto, the Vancouver Hospital, and the Canadian Armed Forces, and within a few other institutions. In 2023, Martin Frith, also Humanist Canada's president, was appointed to the Interfaith Committee on Canadian Military Chaplaincy to represent humanism in the Canadian Armed Forces. As you know, this marks a huge step for secularism in Canada. Our Morgentaler Committee is also hearing the global concern and has been reinvigorated, driven by a renewed urgency to champion reproductive rights across Canada. Their revival stems from witnessing the erosion of women's and trans people's rights worldwide as misinformation and old ideologies seep into our society. As a dedicated group of advocates, they stand firm in our commitment to combat misinformation and promote truthful information regarding abortion care, rights, and sexual health. Our board of directors continues to explore opportunities for Humanist Canada to raise our voice. We are committed to helping our members and the curious public to see contemporary issues through a humanist lens. More resources have been committed to this message. We have a dedicated social media professional who is producing an engaging and informative program that is successfully drawing a greater audience and further broadcast the voice of Canadian humanism. A great deal of focus has been put on strengthening the governance and administrative structure of Humanist Canada. Professional, experienced staff and a board recruited for the pragmatic skills required to build and grow. Our administrative structure has enabled timely receiving, modern membership and volunteer management record keeping, and effective forward-thinking financial management. We are all humanists, but we are also lawyers, fundraisers, teachers, academics, marketers, and problem solvers. This has created a resilient, solid organization prepared now for the journey ahead. An organization ready to grow in Nova Scotia. And I am here today to invite you to become part of this national community, to stand with us in championing reason over dogma, compassion over prejudice, and human rights over discrimination. By becoming a member of Humanist Canada, you not only support our vital programs and initiatives, but also join a network of like-minded individuals who are dedicated to making a positive impact on our society. Whether you are passionate about secularism or human rights or environmental sustainability, there is a place for you within our community. Together we can work towards a world where reason, compassion, and human dignity prevail. Together we can build a society that values diversity, respects individual autonomy, and celebrates the richness of the human experience. Together we can put your values into action. We can create tangible change. Let's together lean into the momentum that our current political and societal environment has provided, and let's move it forward. There has never been a more important time to be a humanist and declare ourselves. Today, as we look back on our history with pride, we also look to the future with optimism and determination. We remain committed to our mission of promoting humanist values and creating a more compassionate society. So as we celebrate here together, I invite you to join us on our journey. Together, let us continue to uphold these principles and work towards a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for your support and for considering becoming a member of Humanist Canada, but most importantly, thank you for welcoming me here today. I'm also here to listen, so please, I welcome your questions and your thoughts. I've brought pins for everyone. I will leave them at the table. And Humanist Canada bookmarks, and at the bottom of the bookmark is our website. More information about becoming a member, our programs are all on the website, and I welcome you to have a look. My email address is there also, and I'm happy to answer any personal questions that way if you wish. But if there's anything here today, I'm happy to.
Before we get into the questions, there's some church housekeeping to be dealt with. So, announcements. Are there any updates on the Palestinian land? Mitchell, do you want to?
Yeah. Hello, thank you. Yes, so following service today, we are hosting the Palestine land exercise in this room beginning at 12:15. So that has signed up, great. We're gonna have we'll have coffee in between. And if you hadn't signed up but you want to stay for this, event. We still have some spaces. It's going to be informative. Thank you.
The other announcements are in the order of service. We also have to take up the collection, part of the weekly housekeeping. Community is made possible by the offering of our individual skills, commitments, and gifts. The truth is that we need each other and money to survive. And yet nobody's worth and dignity is in any way measured by the amount of money that they have or don't have to give. So during the offering, we invite you to offer what you can, if you can, to support this sanctuary of progressive opportunity. Today, any undesignated money in our collection bowls will go to the weekly community brunch offered to our neighbors and friends each Saturday morning from September to June. With increasing food insecurity, our numbers have been increasing, and this is important work in this community. If you don't carry cash and you really want to donate, you can donate by e-transfer to treasurer@uuch.ca. For questions and discussions. I'll leave this microphone to Betty Ann so that she can answer here. And we'll have the hand microphone available. She said it all.
I don't know if I'm really putting my foot in my mouth on this one, but I'll ask it. A lot of Christian congregations, members and all that stuff, the global part, don't really believe in secularism. And what you are proposing is against a lot of their thoughts and expectations.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, by definition.
Sorry, I'm just gonna say, can you move a little closer?
Oh, you
you're
want
in
inside?
the-
Should be on
No,
top.
just right here, just right here.
Go over there.
In front of here. Just
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
can't see you.
You're welcome. By definition, absolutely. Dr. Speed at the University of New Brunswick, who has a relationship with Stats Canada, recently said that 52% of Canadians do identify themselves as not being a part of a religion, and they don't identify that in their lives. As Canadians, as we become more diverse, more and more of the people who choose to live in Canada or second, third generation are not Christian. So as we become more diverse, being secular, especially in government, is not just a matter of a belief choice, it's a matter of respecting everyone's belief choice. And that's why Humanist Canada feels so strongly about advocating for secularism in government, so that everyone feels they are truly being represented by our government at all levels. But it does leave them free then to worship, to believe whatever they want in other parts of their life, but still feel welcome as Canadians. And we feel that's our unique role.
Somebody had asked something.
Thank you. Oops. Anything else? What quiet group.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
This is Scott.
Oh, online.
Oh,
Okay, we can do that.
Gentlemen at this end.
Okay, down in the back row.
But first, Scott.
I don't know where to look.
Am I online? Am I on? I had two questions really. Mary Lou danced over the difference between secular and religious humanism, and I'm kind of curious what that might in short be. And the other question was, how closely aligned is the Humanist Society or the Association of Canada with an international version of this? I'm aware in Scandinavia that there are what they call humanistisk forbundet. That'll be humanist societies throughout Scandinavia. I just wondered if there's a close association.
I'm right here, so you can use it. They took that mic. Let's see if this works. La 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 la. There you go.
Here we go. I'll put that to you. First off, we are very involved in Humanist International. I had a meeting 2 weeks ago with their executive director. We are also the American Humanist Association. I speak to Nicole Carr there. She's actually speaking on our behalf in June with a live discussion that we've entitled, "What's Going On with the Neighbors?" And we look forward to that because they certainly have some issues there. Okay. And the other part of your question, the difference between a secular humanist and a religious humanist, Mary Lou, can you help me with that? That's more of a historical difference. I am a secular humanist, and Humanist Canada is definitely, the majority of our members would identify as being a secular humanist, but
Well, the short definition is that religious humanists are Unitarians. Basically, someone who chooses to practice their humanist life in a Unitarian, in any church community, really, but essentially in what is usually a Unitarian community.
And that was my understanding also, but I didn't want to declare it as such standing here. And that's why we have this long history of being part of the Unitarian movement and something we're very proud of.
I just say that I'm a secular humanist and a Unitarian both. It works for me. In the back.
I enjoyed your talk, Penny Ann. I'm just wondering, you mentioned, sorry, we're around the posts here. You mentioned the chaplain,
Yes.
and is that something that has been accepted in the military as yet? And I'm wondering, I'm not familiar with how many chaplains we do have. I know they used to be Catholic and Protestant, but there must be an imam or something as well. So I'm just curious. I'm sorry?
There's Unitarian military chaplain as well.
Okay, so is that going to be separate from the Unitarian one?
Yes, that is a separate. We do have a position for a humanist chaplain within the Canadian Armed Forces, but our relationship with the Canadian Armed Forces is just blossoming. They're just identifying that they also, like Canadian population, diverse, people coming from many diverse different spiritual beliefs, but it's still in need of the services of a chaplain. So absolutely, we now sit on the Interfaith Committee. We have a position there. Martin Frith, our president, is in that position. But our chaplaincy program, Secular Humanist Chaplains, is growing. And we are actively putting energy into that program and growing it and creating relationships with institutions across Canada to ensure they know they have that option of a humanist chaplain.
Thank you.
We have someone in the back there too.
What about other faiths like Buddhism and other religious faiths or practices?
In the Canadian Armed Forces?
No, in general. I guess what I'm trying to say in general and how that's, would that be considered secular or?
No, that would be of that particular religion. If indeed they developed a chaplain and they were placed within an institution, they would represent or be able to bring, spiritual care in the framework of their religion. So I'm not familiar with that. We do have the humanist chaplains that are able to put aside the belief system and help the person that comes to them in whatever way they can in that particular way, without any other religious framework.
There's someone else in the back, there's that.
I just wondered, Betty Ann, if you could actually give us a definition of what is a chaplain? I get asked this question all the time. If you could elaborate on that, thanks.
Right, the difference between, we have two different ambassadors, as we call them. Our chaplains are usually MSWs who are trained within their craft, but are then additionally trained as a secular humanist chaplain to be able to provide spiritual care, care within an institution. Humanist Canada itself has a chaplain that we offer those services to our members also. And we like to think of the chaplain within Humanist Canada as being that first call. Something happens in your life, that is your person to call to walk through and get some advice as to, you know, whether it be some type of other professional care or guidance. But we, even within Humanist Canada, have a chaplain available to our members.
Acronyms are us. What is an MSW?
Oh, I'm sorry, Master of Social Work. Yes, sorry, Master of Social Work. I said that so easily. My mother's an MSW, so I could just, with a Master of Social Work. So advanced education in social work, recognized in Canada. And our officiants, we only have the officiant program in Ontario, but we are trying to grow throughout the country, including Nova Scotia. And right now we have just under 150 officiants. We do over 1,000 weddings a year in Ontario, growing request for funerals, which we're really trying to meet that demand, as people say, I would like a funeral without religion. And that should be available to them. So that's something that we are growing to try to meet that need, that demand, that request. So those are the two types, chaplain and officiant, as we define them within Humanist Canada.
I'll come up. That just raises a question for me, Betty Ann, because Mary Lou and I have been involved with Unitarian chaplaincy for a long time. And what's happening in the world, certainly here in Nova Scotia and I think Canada-wide, is there are many for-profit organizations offering wedding services. And really, as far as I can tell, taking them over because they all have the right words. They're all saying we're gay friendly, you know, we'll work with anybody of any faith, etc. And I just don't see the need for us anymore.
That's so interesting because our research says quite the opposite. As people, we know in Ontario, absolutely growing. I'm a wedding officiant myself, and people very interested in that option. We know the chaplaincy program institutions are reaching out and saying this is something we would like to explore. And I do know within your Unitarian community, your chaplain would also marry, am I correct?
Yes.
And then in Nova Scotia, you also have the option of what is that, Celia? What are they called here?
Justice of the Peace.
Justice of the Peace. So we don't have that option in Ontario. As you know, but provincially, it's all a little bit different. And that's why we believe in growing the program. We provide some consistency across Canada, but we also provide a great deal of training. All of our officiants, they have to be a member for 1 year, and they have to demonstrate that they understand by essay and by engagement that they understand and they truly are humanists. We turn down people that we feel are not there for the right reason. We do feel they are ambassadors for humanism. And then they go through a screening process with a team, looking criminal reference checks. They write an essay. They are interviewed by 2 established humanists. And then they go, once that's all finished, they go into a training program, which is 6 days at 6 hours a day by another team of trained officiants. So it's quite lengthy. I believe our officiants is one of the longest process, and usually they come with a post-secondary degree before they get that far. A lot of our officiants are retired doctors that wanted to be engaged. We also have growing opportunity that we've noticed, retired doctors, medical people, social workers, wanting to be an officiant so they can preside over a funeral of someone has chosen made. And as you know, medically assisted death is it is certainly a value of Humanist Canada and secular humanists, those options be available. It's something that we have supported over the years, and we continue to support and ensure. On our website, you'll see some programming. We recently did an interview with a woman who's chosen a medically assisted death, and it's such an interesting experience to watch that. But we're seeing where that's all coming together, and our officiants are saying, we want to be part of the funerals for this particular, and there's some other ceremonial or functions that they can do while the people are making these decisions, the process, even being present during the actual death. So we're seeing this grow and expand and meet the need of contemporary Canadians in their own choices.
There's one, just before, one last question. Many years ago, I tried to get our chaplains registered provincially, cross-referenced with humanists, and I was told by the government that it was impossible because there was no humanist organization in Nova Scotia. So we couldn't represent them in any way, but I made a concerted attempt some years back to get our chaplains registered as humanist officiants as well, and it just didn't work. The last question.
We just to Mary Lou, we are seeing and we welcome to partner with you. That's why we want to raise our numbers. We have that critical mass in Nova Scotia, but we welcome any opportunity to partner to do more of that. Yes.
Okay, what's the question? I said only one more. Andrea, you've been waiting.
You mentioned spiritual care earlier in one of your answers. Can you talk about the relationship between humanism and spirituality?
Well, it depends who you ask on that one. What indeed is spiritual care? What is it about the human that is spiritual? Is it something that exists outside of themselves, or is it a part of who they are naturally? I'm not sure that I am the best to answer that. Exactly, because I am a humanist. I believe we should all define that for ourselves, and we should take that journey to think that through and think about what our personal needs are in that way. I do hesitate, though, to not use the word, because I think it's a great word, but I do think we need to figure that out for ourselves. And the beauty of a humanist chaplain is that they're prepared for that conversation and to guide you in that way, if that's indeed what you seek their help for.
I think we better call a halt because people will be wanting to set up for the Palestinian land thing. Our closing hymn, a rousing round of number 354, We Laugh, We Cry, with particular attention to the last verse.
That means I'm gonna have to do the last verse. Where did my microphone go?
You gave it to Betty.
I'm tech person, tech helper, music person. There we go. So it's number 354. Feel free to sit, stand, dance. Oh, see, someone found that funny. We laugh, we cry. death, the one among us lives in green. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we share as friends, they will linger on and on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to roam, we have the gifts to believe, and peace within our business. We sing elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found our joy being together, and in the search for peace, may we finally see, even to questions to me is an answer. That's faster than I thought it was.
I extinguish, Taft will extinguish the chalice with these words. Heard in my first UU church service 68 years ago, still valid today. May peace be in our hearts and understanding in our minds. May courage steel our will and the love of truth forever guide us. So be it.